either have it with Doritos, which I like to scoop it and then put it in my mouth, or you can crumble them up, or if you don't have Doritos and you have Lay's.
Good morning. It is Monday the 15th of December. I nearly said September then for some reason. I have had a busy morning. I am doing the right thing today. I am focusing on my to-do list because I created one. I know we had a chat on, I think it was Saturday. I haven't edited the last 3 days vlogs yet. I think 3 days. I think I'm going to put Saturday and Sunday together because I didn't have very much for the weekend. So obviously you guys are in the future, so you'll know whether I did that or not. But this morning I walked the dog, came straight in, got straight to my chores, and my battery is now flashing at me, so I'm going to fix that and I will be back and complete this thought. Okay, now that that's fixed, I have power. What I was talking about was on the weekend was talking about ways to be productive and to get myself planned and organized, because I was saying when I don't have a routine I tend to get depressed. That's kind of a trigger for me. It's just it's a historic thing that my therapist noticed and is always at me about having a routine and making sure I know what I'm doing at any point. So over the weekend I had a think about it. I now have a to-do list pad that I found something like it on Canva, and I just kind of edited it to be a little bit more simple, and so I could have 2 per page. So what I've done is I printed them both sides. Yeah, I figured if I go through all one way and then come back the other way is probably the easiest thing to do. So I have completed one of my top goals for today, which is to do our budget, because we get paid once a month. So I need to be really kind of on it with the budget, because I track all our transactions and purchases and everything in an app. And if I leave it too late, I end up with a huge amount that I need to track, and then I miss things and things don't balance, and I prefer to get it done straight away. So we got paid at the end of last week, so I did that this morning. I think I was saying I realized, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before now, that if I am in motion I tend to stay in motion a lot longer than if I sat down and then tried to get up. So I walked the dog this morning, went straight into the kitchen because we had all of these dishes from the weekend, because we don't tend to be really on housework on the weekend. We do like to just relax and spend time doing things that, you know, we want to do, like rather than housework, which nobody wants to do. But unfortunately usually falls to me. Such is the life of someone who is home most of the time, and your partner is out working and volunteering as he does on Saturdays. So yeah, I went straight into the kitchen, did all my dishes, I vacuumed. I also dug out, it's a bit coffee stained, so don't mind that there's little coffee stains on it because it's been sitting next to my coffee machine. I created this cleaning checklist a very long time ago. I have kind of tweaked it. I laminated it myself. I do have a laminator. I am that person. Well, I used to be anyway. I'm not so much anymore. Yeah, so I've dug out my cleaning checklist. I have my to-do list. I think I mentioned on Saturday I love ticking things off, so I'm hoping that this is going to be like actually focus. I've had this hidden. This has been down, like I said, down the side of my coffee machine, so I haven't been paying attention to it so much because out of sight, out of mind. I really need somewhere that I can put it so that I can see it every day. That is how I have started this morning. There was a comment from Kesmez on YouTube. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I just had a look on Instagram. You don't have your name on there, so I'm Kez. I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know in the comments, Kesmez. They left me a comment saying that they have to do a similar thing to what I'm doing, where the kids get dropped at school straight into housework and then setting an alarm a couple of times a day to do half an hour of housework each time. So I think I'm going to try that. I have a very bad habit of setting myself alarms, having them going off, being in the middle of something, going, I'm not worrying about that right now. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. So I don't have a good track record of that, but I figured I might try. I really want to get my bathroom at least a quick clean today, because the bathroom's not my favorite thing. So I put it off and put it off and put it off until I just can't anymore. And today is probably that day. So I'm going to set an alarm. I'm going to set a couple of alarms. I don't know what time I'm going to set them for, but I'm going to do that today. So I'm trying to get myself organized, guys. I am trying to be better. But what else? I should have recorded it yesterday. I'm going to stop talking about checklists and cleaning. I'm going to talk about craft. I should have recorded it yesterday, but I did not. I have been having trouble with my Traveller spinning wheel for a really long time, and you would have already seen my vlog from yesterday, and I was spinning on it, and I've been having so much trouble with it lately, and I haven't been able to figure out how to fix it. And basically, if you're familiar with the Traveller wheel, it's an upright, more of a castle style spinning wheel. My wheel, the front support for it was wobbling, so every time I treadled, the whole wheel would do this, like it would like wobble back and forth, and then it would obviously, because it's connected with the drive band to the what's it called, flyer, the flyer would then vibrate, which would then make the back piece that holds the bobbin in would vibrate off, and my whole bobbin would fall off, and my drive band would fall off, and I'd have to put and it was happening constantly. And I tried tightening the bolt underneath that upright, but I couldn't tighten it anymore. It wasn't doing anything. It was still wobbling. So I was about ready just to chuck this thing out of the window. I even considered just dumping it. I was considering giving it away for free to somebody, to be like, I can't figure this out. If you want to figure it out, go ahead, just take it. I don't want it in my sight anymore. Like, it was to the point where I was so angry with this thing that I was ready to just like burn it with fire, basically. But anyway, I was watching Azra of I always get her name wrong. I'm so sorry, Azra. Fleece Folk Diary. I think I've called her Fiber Folk before. It's Fleece Folk Diary is Azra, the lovely Azra. She was oiling her Traveller in her VLOGMAS the other day, and had also done some repairs on some bobbins that had sort of come apart. And I was just, because I love my Traveller wheel, it was always such a beautiful wheel to spin on, and the fact that it wasn't working anymore and it was falling apart, I thought it was on its last legs, and it made me really sad, which I think also fueled some of the anger that I had towards it, because it was such a wonderful wheel to spin on, and now I can't spin on it anymore, and you know, was getting really frustrated and angry with it. Anyway, seeing Azra taking care of her things and repairing things really kind of spurred me into action, because I have been looking at potentially getting a Kiwi, because I'm thinking as I get older I probably really need a double treadle just to keep the wear and tear on my legs and ankles even. And like, I was thinking, because it folds up as well, so I was potentially flirting with the idea of getting a Kiwi. That's an Ashford spinning wheel, if you're not familiar. It's a different type of Ashford wheel. But I also would really love to get a drum carder this year, and two like $1,000 purchases this year is just out of the question. I just don't know that I would be able to even afford to get one of them, let alone two of them. So I basically downloaded the, what do you call it? Not installation, that's the wrong word. I can't word. What's the word? Assembly manual for the Traveller wheel. So I have what I believe is the Mark II, because looking at just the way the wood has been turned and the shape of things, I believe it's a Mark II. So I'm not 100% sure when the Mark II was produced, but I believe that's what I've got. So I downloaded the assembly manual, because obviously Ashford's really good about that. They have a ton of the old manuals and things for their products. So I downloaded that and I looked at it to try and reverse engineer how it was put together so that I could pull it apart, see if I can find an issue, and then to be able to reassemble it. And we found the issue. I was pulling it apart and I was having an issue, so I asked Simon. I was up in the craft room, he was down here. I'm yelling at him going, what is this, this, and he sort of came up to see what I was talking about, and he noticed the upright at the front. I said, this upright is wobbling, I can't figure out how to tighten it. And he looked at it, and because basically you've got your wooden upright and there's like a threaded rod in the bottom of it, and he looked at it and he said, is that supposed to be like that? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the thread here. And I'm like, I don't know, he doesn't say anything in the manual about the threaded rods that go into the uprights. And so he goes, I'm going to tighten this in. And so basically it was the wood, it had the rod sticking out the bottom, and there was thread here underneath the wood, and then also thread at the bottom, which is where the like the nut goes on to bolt it to the platform. Anyway, so he tightened that in, and I'm like, I wonder whether that's what it is, because I wasn't able to tighten it further from the bottom when it was installed in the right spot. I couldn't tighten it any further from the bottom, so I wondered whether that was it. Anyway, he tightened that up for me, and he goes, that could be your problem. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll reassemble everything, put it all back together, and tightened up that front piece, and it's solid again. I was like, oh my God, we figured it out. So like, that was something I probably wouldn't have noticed. So Simon figured it out. Credit where credit is due. But I've put back together my Traveller, and it is all solid, and it did not kick the flyer off once yesterday in all of the time that I was spinning. I reckon I spun on it 2.5-ish hours maybe once I'd put it all back together, and I didn't once have my bobbin fall off, which is the thing that was so frustrating to me. It was the back, I can't remember what they're called, the uprights that hold the flyer and your bobbin in place. I didn't have that happen a single time, and my wheel is no longer wobbling. That front upright is solid as a rock. So we figured it out. I'm really glad I took the time to pull it all apart, find that manual, pull it all apart, and troubleshoot it, because like I said, it was such a wonderful wheel to spin on, and it was my favorite for a really, really long time. I think that was why I stopped using my traditional wheel, because the Traveller was just so much nicer to spin on, in my opinion. And so Trudy was kind of pushed to the side, but Trudy's got a lovely new owner now. I hope she's still working well for you, Nat. But yeah, now I'm just using Tracy, which is my Traveller. And I no longer need to look at buying a Kiwi. I'm thinking if I really am committed to getting a double treadle, I can always get the conversion kit for my current Traveller. The conversion kit costs twice as much as I paid for the wheel, but ultimately if I do need to look at doing that for like mobility issues, and just as my body's getting older, potentially keeping things more even in my legs, that is something that I can look at, is potentially do that, because I think what I saw is it's for any Travellers made after 1971, I think, the conversion kit. Seeing as I have the Mark II, it should fit. So that's something to look at down the line, and I guess $300 is a lot better than $1,000 for a brand new wheel. So long story short, Traveller is working, I'm very happy, and I have a solution for double treadle if I truly need it. But I would love to know what you guys think about double treadle versus single treadle. I've never had a double treadle wheel. I borrowed one from a friend years ago and just couldn't get the knack of it. I'm assuming it's just something that you would need to learn, but like, do you find having a double treadle wheel easier on your body? Do you find it's more even? Because I guess sometimes if I spin for a long time with just the one like treadle, because that's all I have, I can be prone to having pain in that leg. Is that something that you think would be improved with a double treadle? I would love to know. So please do let me know down in the comments if you think a double treadle would be a good thing to have at some point. All right, well, that is a big catch up. I just wanted to quickly touch on what you saw me knitting a little bit earlier in my little misshapen basket, because it's been smashed into a storage box for a long time. I am working on, it's my Vivid blanket. I have pulled it out again because the yarn that I was spinning yesterday, that grey yarn, is for this. This is to, the grey yarn will be to join my squares and do a border, hopefully, if I've got enough. So I pulled out my Vivid blanket. I have all these squares already done, and this is with hand spun. This is some very early hand spun of mine. It's not desperately good now that I'm looking at it. It's fine, it's serviceable. This was from some hand spun. This was Hilltop Cloud fiber. These were like collections of the different, they came as like a collection of all these different colors in the fiber pack. So I have been working on this because I've had this on the needles for a very, very long time, and I would love to get it done, especially because I'm working on spinning the final yarn required for it. So that is what I've been working on. But I think for now I've got one more vlog to catch up on. I've got Azra's vlog to catch up on this morning, so I might watch that, do a little bit more knitting on my blanket squares, and potentially get up and go and clean my bathroom. I've got my sheets washing already, so I'm going through my checklist. I'm being a good girl. But yeah, I might do that and go clean my bathroom, get it out of the way. We do have to do shopping, grocery shopping tonight, so I'm hoping I might be able to take some little bits of footage then. But I'm going to shut up for now, and I'm going to head off and do some knitting and vlog watching and cleaning of bathrooms, and hopefully some video editing soon-ish. Okay, bye.